This computer. All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good
Ina
morning.
Ricker here from Northern California. I have the grace of having Danae. Is it Gross?
Grow.
Grow. Danae Grow. Oh, sorry, the French. Is it the silent S?
It is a silent S.
Oh God, my French grandmother would slap me now if she could reach me. She's in heaven. Danae and I have had the pleasure of working with this beautiful product called Hers. And if you're a woman with female hormones, female reproductive organs, you're going to want to know about this because the fact of the matter is we have chemicals called forever chemicals. They've been around since the 1940s that are inundating us. Even if you are somebody who's vegan, who doesn't cook with something that's going to off gas into your food, you use body products that are really pure, you still can't get away from these chemicals. And so they are endocrine disruptors and estrogen disruptors. And I would love Danae to share her story because she has quite the story of hormonal imbalance and what she tried to do to help that before she found Neumi Hers. So Danae, welcome. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. No problem. I'm
Yeah,
happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here. There's so many women that struggle, right? So many women, even from like young girls starting their menstruation cycles to postmenopausal women like myself. I'm 5 years postmenopausal. Can you share with us? Because Danae is a 33-year-old mother of 3 children,
Yeah, correct.
12, right? Almost 10 and 6.
Mhm.
And so she's
Yep.
active. She homeschools her children. You can imagine trying to do this when you're in severe imbalance with your hormones. So Danae, please share with us what happened prior to Neumi.
So, for 12 months before I started the HERS, which was 7 months ago, I was prescribed some hormone cream that has progesterone and estriol in it to help balance my hormones. I guess that's what it was supposed to do. But I started that because I was having a lot of issues with my cycles and really feeling like I was pregnant almost every month, which my husband has had a vasectomy, and I still was taking pregnancy tests almost every month because of the symptoms I was having. It was basically, it mimicked pregnancy symptoms. I'd get really bloated. I'd have breast tenderness, very, very tired, very moody. Like I said, I felt like I was pregnant. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be that lucky one that has the surprise baby after a vasectomy. But it was just my hormones really unbalanced, and it definitely took a toll on my mental health and my body and how I was a mom, how I was a wife. Um, Man, now thinking of it, it's like those aspects have gotten so much better since I've been balancing my body. Way more mental clarity. I feel like I can handle things now a lot easier. Like little stresses don't throw me off anymore. Like it used to really affect me mentally and emotionally. Um, so starting the HERS, but let me just say the hormone replacement therapy after a few months of being on the cream, it did help my symptoms. I remember feeling better just like overall pretty quickly, like maybe a month, like 4 weeks in. And she told me not to expect anything until about 3 to 6 months. Well, pretty much at the 6 to 8 month mark, I was experiencing those symptoms again. Like they got better, but now they came back even stronger. It was weird. So I was like, I don't know. Maybe it's kind of balancing me out, and it's kind of like the last hurrah, but it still kept going. And so I went, made an appointment, and she goes, "Oh, it sounds like we have to up your dosage." So I was pretty disappointed in that. And then 2 months later, that's when I was able to trial the HERS, and I had stopped rubbing the cream. Man, it was about no, it was about 2 weeks because I was waiting for it to come in. My dad was telling me he had gotten the trial bottles and he was like, it's coming in any day, any day. So I was like, I'm gonna just stop the cream and see what happens. And for 2 weeks, I didn't rub the cream. I was waiting on the HERS to come in. So I was suffering. I remember having some ovulation discomfort, and it was like I felt the egg pass through my fallopian tube, and it was very uncomfortable. And my dad called me. He's like, "Hey, the hers is here." I'm like, "Okay." This was like, I don't know, 8 o'clock at night. It was late because I remember it was dark outside. I rush over to her. We live like a minute away from each other. We're in the same neighborhood, but it's like they have a neighborhood back there, and there's a kind of like a main road in between our neighborhoods. But so we're very close. So I rush over there, and in this discomfort, and it's like from, I don't know, one being the least amount of pain you've ever experienced to 10 being the most excruciating amount of pain. I was about a 5. So it was pretty uncomfortable. And I'm swishing it in my mouth, and the discomfort just easing up. It's easing up. It's easing up. And probably I would say about 2 minutes of having it in my mouth, it was completely gone. And I was
That's
like,
cool.
what is going on? I mean, I know Neumi has an amazing technology, but it was so like shocking to experience in real time with myself and my body. And I was like, oh my gosh, this just like immediately got rid
And
of the
after 2 weeks of doing nothing, I could imagine that would be shocking because you've had discomfort for 2 weeks going cold turkey off of the
yeah,
hormone replacement, and all of a sudden you take this beautiful nano-size hydrostat nanotechnology, right? And you don't know
yeah,
what to expect. So that's pretty mind
right.
blowing.
Yeah, like I knew it was going to be a good product, but that was like it exceeded my expectations from the first night. And then so of course I have been on that since that day, since that night, and each month I feel like my cycles get better and better and easier, and the breast tenderness is almost non-existent at this point. Um, it got better throughout the months of me being on hers, but it seems like stop it. Sorry, he keeps hitting
It's
the
okay.
tripod. You're not supposed to be causing me interruptions. You move. Um, so what was I saying?
Oh, that your cycles, you felt like they were getting better like a month
Yeah,
after
yeah.
month.
So I was no longer spotting before starting. I would just start. No breast, well, very mild breast tenderness now. Like it's almost not even there. I remember the last month I was like, oh, okay, that's not bad. And the month before that, it was a little bit like stronger, like leading up to when I started. I still had the breast tenderness when I started. It didn't just completely get rid of it immediately. It made it manageable where it wasn't as tender. And now 7 months later, it's like it's almost gone. I'm pretty sure within the next month or two, it's going to be non-existent, just from the way that it's been going. So that is at that point. And then my moods are amazing. Like I am always happy now. And even during, right leading up to my cycle and on my cycle, it's like I'm not even on my period. Like it's, I don't even know basically because I feel good. I feel really good, better than I ever have on my cycle.
That's awesome. So because I work with your father and your mother, and I've heard your father say, listen, gentlemen, you want your women on these products because if they're on this product and they're feeling good, everything's gonna be happy in the house. And he
It's
said
true.
your moods have gotten so much better. So can you tell me like what has your family shared with you, your children or your husband, your parents about the changes? Because when we're in it, it's like that old adage, you can't look at it's perfect. You can't see the forest for the trees because you're in the forest, right? Look at my background. But when
Uh-huh.
somebody else is standing outside, they can see what's going on better than you can because you're in it. So what has been the feedback from your family since you've been using these botanicals?
So my daughter made a comment one time how I was like in a good mood because I pretty much let my family know when I'm starting because we're on a cycle and we do experience lower moods or lower energy levels versus higher energy levels depending on where we are in our cycle. We are women, that's how we're designed. We get a little bit more done after our cycle. We want to do more things, we want to get more organized and have more motivation during that time. But before, leading up to bleeding and on bleeding, it's like it's okay to rest, and your body needs a little bit more rest during those times, and I feel that naturally. So I kind of let my family know because mom is the, like how I explained it to my husband, like mom sets the tone for the family, but dad comes in and enforces it. And like it's like he backs up mom, and like it just works. Like it's a little like natural system that we've kind of formed in our house. And when mom's feeling good and mom's doing all the things, you know, everything kind of just works better and everybody acts better. And I feel like I've gotten into that routine because I was able to balance my hormones, because I've taken note over the last few months on how I am during my cycle. And it's pretty cool to kind of see for myself and get more in tune with my body as well.
Right. Yeah.
Knowing how I'm going to be. But my daughter did say that my moods were a lot better. She's like, don't ever stop taking the hers, mom.
That's
and
beautiful.
and my parents have definitely said my husband kind of he's a little ADHD, my sweet husband. So he's not a very observant person. That's just how he is. So he's never really commented on, but I have made comments to him like, don't you feel like I'm like, you know, like I've changed a little bit? Like he's like, oh yeah, definitely. Like I have to ask him and pull it out of him.
Yeah.
He don't
Sometimes we
just
have to do
freely give the information.
that. Well, it's amazing because you're right. I love how you just gave that whole analogy of, mom sets the tone for the family, right? You're the nurturer, the carer, and that you have that
Yeah,
teamwork with your husband. That's beautiful. Not all families have that. There's a lot of dysfunction. And I can
yeah,
tell you
I
that,
know.
you know, for
Sorry, I'm getting a
me,
little emotional.
yeah, I got the hers. I'm 5 years postmenopausal, almost 6 years postmenopausal. I still have hot flashes on occasion. And sometimes
Yeah.
we get night sweats. And from the first day I got the hers, I took a capful around 2:30 in the afternoon, and I was living in Florida. And I went to walk my dog down the block. We're always gone for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Walked her down the block, and there's this cool space in the shade where we would sit on the grass. And I sat with her, and I thought in my head, I should be mindful of how I'm feeling. This is the first time I've taken this product. And we can discuss in
Mhm,
a minute the glutathione that we've both been on for like the past, I've been on almost 2 years. So I
yeah.
said, let me be mindful. And I'm sitting there and I was just really relaxed, like really relaxed, really calm, really peaceful. And I walked
Mhm.
home. My daughters called me and I was just so zoned out. I was just like, wow, you know, the calming effect of the botanicals was beautiful. And then I decided, well, it was late afternoon. So I took a capsule in the evening when I got home because I was rideshare driving and I would get home between like 11 and midnight. I took a capsule. Now I normally would wake up to go to the bathroom like every 2 hours. I've had a bladder thing for years. I take the
Mhm.
hers and I'm like 6 hours sleeping without getting up. That is unheard of for me. It just, and I feel like the
Wow.
bladder, I'm really body conscious as well. I feel like my bladder issue has got a lot to do with my hormones. And it's got a lot to
Mhm.
do with emotions too, because everything is
Yeah.
emotional before it gets into the physical. So for me,
Right,
I
right.
love that. But also, I took it one day when I was getting a hot flash because I was going to take it morning and evening. But I know that you could take it if you're having symptomology. This hot
Mhm.
flash started coming on, and if you've ever had a hot flash, it's like internal. You just feel it starting to go from the inside
Ooh,
out, like you're in a sauna.
I've never had one.
Oh, they're not fun, but you get used to the sensation that, oh, here it comes. And I immediately took a
Mhm.
capsule, and I swear and I didn't clock it, but about 40 to 50 seconds, it did an about face. It never fully came on, it just disappeared.
Wow.
And I was excited because
Amazing.
I get them and they'll last, I don't know, a minute and a half, 2 minutes, whatever it is. And I've gotten used to them. I just ride through it. I don't get bitchy. I just don't. I'm just like, whatever. It's just like my mother would say when I was a young girl menstruating. She's like, it's just part of nature. Just put a heating pad on or exercise before you get your moon because that helps your muscle cramping to like lessen. All these things that we
Yep.
have as women that we don't think about. So for me at almost 59, the hers has been beneficial. But for my 8-year-old granddaughter who's going to be 9, she, has temper issues and she will tell you straight up, I can't control my anger sometimes. And I've given her the hers and it's like a different girl emerges. It calms her down,
Mhm.
helps her just to relax. It's really a beautiful thing to witness. And, girls younger and younger are starting to get their periods earlier because of the chemicals that are disrupting everything.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm
anybody
so
watching
thankful
this?
Gracie hasn't started yet.
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
12.
Yeah, hopefully she waits a few years, but with the
I'm
chemicals that are
hoping.
out there, it is starting
Right.
earlier, it's amazing. But can you give me a little bit of background? Because I know your mom and dad were introduced to Neumi 2 years ago in April, and the glutathione, the
Yep.
flagship product of the internal. I have a bottle here. Of course, I have a bottle here. The NutraSwish is incredibly effective.
Yes. Oh
So
my
can you?
God. It's amazing.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your glutathione journey because they work so well together.
Oh, they do. So I have been on the product for 2 years. My first order was April 20th of 2022. I seen that the other day in my back office. So I just made 2 years on the product. Um, I wasn't very consistent at the beginning. I would swish here and there. I'd forget a couple days, swish a little bit and forget. But I do remember the very first time I swished. My dad brought it over here and let me try it. And I had ordered, but his was here before because he ordered before me. So we had just moved into our house because we bought in April 1st. So we still had a lot of unpacking to do. And it had been a couple weeks. We actually moved in like around March because it was a family home. So we moved in before we actually bought the house. Um, so we were still unpacking and doing all the things. Well, there was a whole bunch of boxes in my front living room that I was putting off, of course, because it's just overwhelming whenever you're moving into a house. And I remember swishing for the first time, and I knocked out the whole front room just from swishing the very first time. Like, it gave me the motivation to do it and a little bit of energy, and it was nice and clean and focused. So that was my very first experience with the swish. And then, of course, like I said, I wasn't really consistent in the first few months. It took me a little while to be consistent, but once I did, the inflammation in my body, I know I'm probably not supposed to say that word.
Yeah.
um, we probably should say a disclaimer if we're going to share this. Sorry.
Yes, yeah, because
Um,
Neumi doesn't claim to treat, mitigate, cure, or diagnose any diseases. But the other word for when you get that swelling in your body is reactive oxidative stress, which glutathione is the master antioxidant, and it helps to grab that, sequester it, and like stop it in the body.
Exactly. So that's what was going on with me. I had a lot of oxidative stress. I had that puffiness. I was around 170, maybe a little bit less than that whenever I started being consistent with the swish. But now I'm
170
around
pounds?
130. Uh-huh.
We're
Well,
170 pounds.
I started my health journey at 170. I probably was a little bit, well, 173, but I probably was a little bit lighter than that when I really started being consistent with the hers. I mean, sorry, the swish. um, I was probably around 160, and I was very puffy. Like, I have a before and after, and it's crazy. But when I started, that went away over I would say a few months. It took a few months, but when I started being consistent, it helped me in that area. My muscle recovery, anytime I would work out, was like super quick. It wasn't as like, you get that good sore, but when you kind of overdid it and you get that hurt sore. I never reached that hurt sore. I was always in that good, like, oh, that was healthy for my body.
Mm-hmm.
Sore. And then it would be gone within 24 hours, and I would be swishing before my workouts, after my workouts. I felt like I was able to push harder during my workouts. When I would swish, I would sometimes swish during like a couple of sets. I would be swishing so I can kind of push myself a little bit further. um what else? Anytime like I get hurt, like an injury, um I did something to my neck, and it helped that process of whatever it did.
Yeah,
Not that H word.
it's the glutathione working with the reactive oxidative stress. Anytime there's trauma, like an injury to the body or
Yeah.
stress from work, you're stressing or you're doing repetitive motion, that reactive oxidative stress equals that puffiness that we feel. So it helps to yank it out of the body, right? And when you were talking about the
Yep.
workouts, at least our product, we're in 17 clinics in Europe, and they work these clinics with mostly professional athletes, and they've been testing the athletes. Now, this is not our study, so we can't post it up, right? We do have the science behind
Yeah.
it, the white papers that we could show anybody. But their study proved that the glutathione taken before these athletes were working out slowed the lactic acidosis
Onset.
onset by
Yeah.
16.7%. That's huge. So if they were running a race, and I don't know how this is in miles because they're always talking kilometers, it gave them an extra 2 kilometers before they would start to get fatigued. And the recovery, yeah, that's huge because this past year, I'm still 58. I do wall Pilates. Now, anytime I would do any kind of Pilates, I would be sore the next day. I'd feel it in my muscles, like that good sore, but you knew you had a workout. I took the swish I did this experiment one time. And I took the swish 5 minutes before I worked out, switched for about 3 minutes, did my workout. The next day I got up and then normally I would feel it. I didn't feel a thing. I'm 58.
Oh,
And this
wow.
is what they've done with those studies. So that kind of blew me away, but it helps stop the onset of lactic acidosis. And as a massage therapist myself, I was working with a woman the other day. She's like, "Oh, what is that?" I said, "That's lactic acid. That crunchiness that you feel when somebody starts rubbing you or you feel it yourself, that's what it is."
Yeah.
So when I get in there with a massage, I break it up with my hands and with hot stones. And I always tell people drink plenty of water because the lymphatic system is picking that up and it wants to circulate it and dump it out of the body. Right.
Yeah.
So these products are super effective. And for me,
Yeah.
I've never not been consistent. And I'm not a supplement taker, but for some reason, I just love the swish so much. And the skin spray.
Mhm.
Let me grab the bottle real quick so I can show everybody. The spray is
Oh,
another,
yeah.
but for the
I just
swish,
started being consistent with the spray.
oh God, well, I'm gonna be 59. I mean, like I don't feel like I look my age. I definitely tell with
No,
the
you
lines of my
definitely
face.
don't.
Thank you. I had that turkey neck hanging down. That's like I still have these, but it's gone. Right, from using the
Yeah.
skin spray, like, you see, oh, got this
Yeah.
background, so it gets hidden, there it is. But the
Yep.
Swish, when I first started the Swish myself, I was on it for 3 weeks, and we were at Disney for a 6-day vacation with my grandkids, and I had a watch that would track my steps, so my average steps was about 20,000 a day, on
Oh,
hard
wow.
concrete, even with good shoes. I have a knee issue where the joint in my knee is achy and creaky and burns all the time. I've had it for years. Probably about the 5th day, it just dawned on me, I'm like, "Wait a minute, I don't even know that I have a knee. Whoa."
Wow.
Reactive oxidative stress
Oh,
that causes that little issue was taken care of. And that was the first thing. And so, especially after that, I was very consistent
yeah.
with the glutathione. But, these are all products that are there to help assist us in this world where we're inundated by chemicals and the radiation, the 5G. Now
Yep.
they're talking about 10G. I mean, these are not conspiracy theories. These are real scientific. You can look up peroxynitrite, this wicked free radical that comes in from the radiation activating the nitrogen in our cells. And it's the only thing
Mm.
that can sequester it and grab it and pull it out of the body is glutathione.
Yeah.
And I will tell everybody that these products are so effective because of the hydrostat nanotechnology that we have.
That's
The
right.
water is like 40 times more pure than a hospital IV. And if you took one human hair and yanked it out of your head, that's 100,000 nanometers thick. They have chunked these molecules down to 10 nanometers, and that's the size of the pores in every cell. And every cell is
Mhm.
producing glutathione. Even the trees and all the animals and plants on the planet have it. But as it starts to dissipate, you have issues. So this nanotechnology, swishing it within 70 seconds, one pass of the circulatory system, it's directly in the cells doing its job.
Yep.
Far exceeds IV glutathione, which would have been the hero before. It was the best you could have ever gotten. But what
Mhm.
most people don't realize is, and most physicians don't realize this until they get the education on it, those 3 peptides that make up glutathione split apart when they're shot into the system quickly in an IV, and they have to try to come back together. And because of
Oh,
the
wow.
size of those molecules, you're only getting about 20% of what you're paying for, and you're talking hundreds of dollars per 1-hour session of IV. And who can afford that? You would need at least
Yeah.
probably 3 to 4 or 5 a week every other day, and you still wouldn't be able to
Wow.
get the effectiveness that you're getting through this nanotechnology. So it's why we're
Wow.
witnessing the health and wellness of all these people that have been on it right now.
Yep.
The hers, we wanted to
Yep.
speak about the hers today for the women, but just know that we have these other products that complement them, and I will never be without them, ever.
Yep. I agree. And they have definitely completely changed my health, like 360. I never want to be without them too, because I know how important it is for our bodies to have this every day, especially the world that we live in.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in a world that our grandparents never had to deal with, and they probably could never have fathomed that we would, get to this space where everything is so polluted. So I'm grateful to have a daily detox, and it's a very gentle detoxification. And what I would stress to people is that glutathione, without it, there would be no life on this planet. We would
Yeah.
expire as humans if we lost it in our cells in probably less than 2 minutes.
Wow.
And so your need for it goes up as you age, but the decline in the cells goes
Right.
down. So, people will say to me,
Right.
"Well, how long do I need it?" I'm like, "Well, how long would you like oxygen?"
Right.
Right? You want to
Forever.
breathe because without glutathione, you wouldn't even have oxygen in the blood. I mean, it's
Yeah.
responsible for 400 functions that they know of.
Right. And I thought a while ago, so I don't want to lose it, but when I'm not feeling good, or if I've dealt with any kind of sickness and I swish, it speeds up the process of it's like it gets it out. It's like it gets it out my body quicker. Whatever I'm dealing
Absolutely.
with, sinus or not feeling good or whatever under the weather type symptoms, it definitely, it's like I can feel it, like just get it out of me sometimes. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, that's why it's
Very
called the master antioxidant because, if you have 20,000 free radicals on a normal day, which you do, attacking your cells,
right.
vitamin C, and I used to run to vitamin C all the time. I used to get like the crystallized one that you put in the water, drink it,
Yep.
figuring it's going
Yep.
to go in quicker. Vitamin
Hmm.
C can only take out one of those 20,000 free radicals. So I still have 19,999 free radicals trying to get me. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Wow.
Glutathione is the master antioxidant or the mother of all antioxidants, meaning it's like a magnet. It grabs every single free radical and yanks it out of
Yes.
the system. So, like you just said, when I don't feel well, if I start to feel something coming on, I take a capful every 90 minutes until I feel better. And typically it's like 7 or 8 capfuls during the day. And whatever was
Yep.
trying to get me is gone.
Yep. Yep.
And if God forbid something gets me quicker than I can like get to the glutathione, it helps me recover in double time. So yeah, absolutely. It's
Yep.
powerful, it's necessary, and at $50 a bottle as opposed to 300 or more for IV,
Right.
that you're only getting 20% of what you're paying for
So
anyway.
affordable, in my
So
opinion.
affordable.
Yes. I feel like everybody, and I've never felt this way about a product. I've done other things in the network marketing industry. I have promoted other things that, have made a difference in my life, but I never felt like just because it made a difference in my life that it would be good for every single person with any of those products. I'm like, everybody's body's different. This may help you, it may not. I don't feel that way about glutathione, about NutraSwish, about this company. I feel like every single person will and can and will benefit from these products. Like, I feel like it's for everybody,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
absolutely. Right, because we all have glutathione in our cells, and then as
Exactly.
women, even young girls, we have like reproductive hormones and all of these beautiful ingredients. I'll rattle off some of them that I can remember. Black cohosh, Damiana, ashwagandha, white peony.
Yeah.
Uh,
Maca root? Is it maca?
no,
No.
I forget the other ones.
Don't
Anyway,
cry. Don't
Donquois,
cry.
yeah, they're all there to support the body, and
The
even the
B6
glutathione.
and the B12 that is methylated
Yes,
too. That one's huge. That one's good.
that is a huge one. And even like the glutathione, it's there. There's no stimulant in it, so you feel stealth energy. Like what I noticed too, after besides the knee thing, was like, oh, wait a minute. I typically don't feel like I need that cup of coffee at 3 in the afternoon like I used to. It just gives you
Yeah.
steady energy. And
Yeah. Yeah.
2 capfuls a day is recommended for a healthy person, but people that I know that are using it that have chronic issues or acute, they use more during the day, like we just stated, if we're not feeling well, and it's
Right.
helping them, right? But what
Yep.
I would implore everybody is to like understand if something's taken a while to get into your body, this is not a quick fix. You're not going to get rid of
Right.
it in like, even though they call it the miracle molecule, in 2 days.
Yep. Yep.
Any supplementation has always been known that you should make a commitment of at least 90 days.
Yep.
But for sure, this company is phenomenal. It's helping so
Yep.
many people around the world. We're in 68 countries already in less than 3 years. And Stephen K. Scott is the most beautiful man, the founder of this company. They're all so accessible. He is
Yep.
now writing his 17th and 18th simultaneously Christian books. He has
Yep.
the #1 Christian best-selling book of all time called The Richest Man That Ever Lived, which I need to get a copy of. But he wants us to be able to help people, and
Yep.
he brought in all the infomercials, right? Deal a Meal with Richard Simmons, I remember that. Hair Care with Cher, the Total Gym. He could easily have taken that money from Neumi for advertising and given it to the TVs and done this on TV, but he wanted the people working with Neumi, this family, to be able to support their families and live their dreams, right?
Yep.
I mean, because he's
Yep.
lived his dream for a long time. So
It's like
it's a
his way to
very
give back.
yeah, he's on his way to give back. It's a very generous company. We have all the support you would need for any of the seasoned
Mhm.
entrepreneurs that are out there. If you're looking for a company that's aligned, we have everything here, an app with all the trainings. We have weekly meetings. I mean, I've called some of the crowns in the company, like Michael Firth has helped me do 3 ways, Dr. Jerry,
That's
Karen
awesome.
Justice. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been in other companies too. You don't get that. You don't even get to
No.
touch those people.
Nope.
Even
You're
our
right.
CEO and president, Aaron Renard, I mean, they're all accessible. So
Yeah.
it's
You're
really an
right.
incredible
Man, that's
company.
so true.
It is true. And the
Awesome.
products, look at this skin spray. It's just a little quick spritz back of the hands because I'm getting older, and then I'm
Yeah.
done. That's it. That's how fast that is. Gets to the base level of the derma. Like I think there's like, don't quote me, but 20 some odd layers. Even the most beautiful skincare products that you could pay hundreds or thousands of dollars for, they'll
Yep.
get like maybe 2 to 3 levels in because the molecules are too big.
Mm-hmm.
This is the
Yeah.
beauty of this is why you're seeing people look and feel better. But I just want to state too that if you see before and afters, please don't believe it's just superficial. This is the largest organ. We're not going to cut people up and subject them to showing you how their organs are thriving now because they've detoxed and they're rejuvenating. So what you're seeing on the outside is a result of what's going on also on the inside.
That's
And that
true. Yeah.
is beautiful. So I thank you, my darling, for jumping on and sharing your story. I
Of
hope you be
course.
inspiration to women who've been suffering needlessly.
Yeah.
They don't need to suffer anymore. We have a
No,
way that's natural, that's it's going to support every
not gonna
system
hurt.
of the body.
Exactly. That's the awesome thing, and I love about it because I know I can give this to my daughters when I need to, or if they ever need, which I'm sure they will.
Exactly, exactly. And you know what? That time will be coming up before you know it. Thank
I
you.
know.
I know. But listen, I just said this last night on the meeting. I'm giving this to my granddaughter on occasion when she's in a mood. But just imagine now, I'm going to track this that she, from the very beginning of getting her first moon, gets to be on the hers journey. What a difference that could make. Let's see how that goes the entire time instead of
Yeah,
being like a young girl who starts cramping because of the disruptive hormones and
right,
all the
right.
things.
I know. I'm gonna take note on Gracie too because I'm gonna have her on this when she starts for sure.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It
Well, thank
is.
you.
You're
I hope
welcome.
you,
Thanks for having me.
I hope you have a beautiful day. I'm going to stop the recording.
You too.